Hi, Mom.
Hi, Dondi.
So this month in our newsletter, we are focusing on giving back, on helping people, on really paying it forward, and truly helping others. And that has always been your mission. It has always been your mission. So I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Wow, yes. I mean, boy, it has, as you say, always been my mission. It was so important to me back in the day when I'd gotten myself over multiple sclerosis and all my allergies. I was driven to share with everybody that they could help themselves, and I wanted to give it to everybody. And God, I've got so many stories.
Well, let me ask you one that I always think about because it's such a great story. You did a lot of volunteering, and you one day went to volunteer at what we used to call old folks' homes. We don't call them that anymore, but where elderly would live and they'd get, nursing care, and they'd go off to these homes, which now I think are assisted living. So you went to an assisted living. Do you remember this story?
Oh, I remember this very, very well. And I want to say, it was back in the day when nobody would have paid me. They wouldn't have paid me for this because they didn't know how good it was. But so I was really thrilled to be able to go and help people at this assisted living place. And I went in the front door, and there was nobody there to greet me. And I waited a while, just nobody came. So I wandered down the hallway, and there was a door that was kind of cracked, and I could see in the window there was one woman in there. It was like a day room, a lot of space. And I walked in, and she saw me, and she scrambled across the room and laid down on a daybed with her back to me. And I thought, I was in some ways maybe ignorant that these were things that you just didn't do. Go up to somebody and say, could I hold your neurovasculars, which she wouldn't have known what that meant, but that meant holding the points on the top of her forehead to lift her out of stress, because she was clearly stressed out. So I went over to her and I said, would you mind if I held your neurovasculars? It would just be me putting my fingers on your forehead. And she didn't say anything. So I held them. I put my fingers on her forehead, and I held them and held them and held them. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's just hardly any movement. You didn't feel anything in there, which I was not used to. I was used to touching people's points here, and you could feel the movement, the energy under your fingers, and that wasn't happening. But I just held, because I know what energy can do. So I just held them and held them and held them. And after a very long time, there was a synchronized sort of like a thump there, and it was like a heartbeat. But it wasn't the heartbeat. It was the beating of the capillary beds, and it was beating in sync. And when that happened, she took a deep sigh, and it was a long time, by the way. Usually, I would get this in sync thumping in about a couple of minutes, but it was a long time. But when it synced, she took a sigh and said, oh, thank you, my name is so-and-so, what's your name? And right at that moment, as I was ready to say my name, a nurse came running into the room, very upset and flustered, and she said, you're not supposed to be in this room. And she grabbed me and she took me out of the room, and I waved goodbye to the woman who waved goodbye to me. And we went into the office, and I got a real scolding, and but they said, but then another nurse walked in, because she said she was in tears. She was so moved, because this woman, I think her name was Lydia, but I'm not sure, but she said nobody had gotten a word out of her in over 2 years. She was so stressed out, and now she was happy and talking, and so I was able to explain that what happens when you put your fingers on the forehead, and your energies are electromagnetic, and so is your blood. You connect up to the blood and the energy, and it brings it back up to your forehead, and you can think again, and you've got clarity of your mouth. Your mouth can make words, and I don't know if you've ever had that experience of when you were so stressed out that you could not talk at all. I mean, you can imagine somebody who was, well, this woman hadn't spoken in 2 years, and so now she was talking. So that's my story.
That's awesome. Thank you. You have so many great stories. And this month we are really celebrating giving to others, volunteering, paying it forward. And thank you, Mom, for always being such a big advocate of that.
I am such an advocate of that. I mean, it's going to make the world a better place if we can all just give to each other and take care of each other. Pay it forward.